Well, folks, we are back, and it's been a while. You have Noel and myself back on the 6 Yard Line podcast, but we're going to give you some summertime transfer talk. So, how you doing, Noel? And just so everybody knows, Noel's over on this side today.
Oh, you got it the wrong way. It's that side. So, last but not least, it's funny because you and me were talking about them the other day. And I guess, obviously, Matthias Tell decided that he wanted to stay after winning the Europa League. So that 30 million.
Champions League. He's guaranteed Champions League and playing time.
Yeah,
that's all about money.
I don't think he was going anywhere. I don't think the list to sign him was that long. But they obviously took the option up. And I think they were taking that option up even before Thomas Frank was announced. So, that's fine. Kevin Danso from Lens, again, it's a solid piece of business. I actually don't mind him. I think he's quite decent. The other one that from Hajduk Split, I think he's a goalkeeper. I'm going to try and pronounce his name, Vuskovic. He's definitely one I didn't. It took me a while to even find out how much they paid because it was undisclosed. And then fortunately, I found some footy files where they said how much the undisclosed amount was. But,
he's a defender.
Is he? Okay.
He's a center back.
Yeah. So 62 million for Spurs, mostly going to Matthias Tell right up front. Thomas Frank in charge. Apparently they would like some players, and that doesn't sound like they're getting a lot of people wanting to go to Spurs at the moment. And because Spurs don't exactly offer big wages, they are being turned down by a few players. So,
well,
it will be interesting to see what they do.
Didn't they try to hijack the Embuemo deal from Man United? And he's basically said, "Nah, man."
Yeah, well, I think it's also, from Embuemo's point, like from where he's from, and Manchester United is just the biggest team in the world, right? And I think that's part of it too, right? They've got that draw of.
I get that.
He's got supporters and everyone. They grew up watching Man United in the Premier League days, right?
And you know what? In some ways, you respect a player that's willing to do that versus just chase, the big.
But he's going to get paid more money at Man United because they overpay for everybody. So
there's that too, right? I guess for me, it's like I think of how important it is for players' career to be able to play like the Champions League and things like that, or play in Europe. Period. And when you have a chance to, I always think that should come into play.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, I think from Spurs side, Thomas Frank is going to probably. I do expect him to go and sign somebody from Brentford because that's normally the case, right? And I think as we mentioned just a few minutes ago, Brentford I think are going to struggle to replace some of that talent, but. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't take somebody else from there. But I think Spurs will try and make one big signing. I think just because they're obviously in the Champions League. If you look at this squad and look what they've got, they definitely need to sign more defenders. I don't think their defenders are good enough. Romero is, he's still at the club. I think he needs to leave. I think he's hinted he wants to leave. He hints he will. And if they got ripped apart last year, but how many times by teams? Because defensively, Thomas Frank will play a bit more solid, a bit more defensive than Ange. But I don't necessarily think that they've got the defenders or the back line because remember the likes of Reguilon and all those guys have left, right? So
yeah,
I think it'll be interesting to see. But they've got some money, obviously. Not exactly exciting signings for them, but it is what it is, and we'll see how Spurs pan out.